Come to order. Let's say pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is the meeting of the Morrison County Board of Adjustment. The board is made up of citizens from the 5 commissioner districts in the county. The purpose of this board is to review application of property owners for relief from the strictest interpretation of the county ordinances. Our guidelines are established in state statutes, chapter 394.27, subsection 7. The decision made by this board is the result of whether or not a practical difficulty has been determined. If the board determines there is a practical difficulty, we then review the guidelines in the form of 6 criteria questions that are answered at the end of the applicant's request. A final decision is then made. Each request is evaluated on its own unique practical difficulty. Variances are granted to the land, not to the landowner. This board may, in addition, impose conditions in the granting of variances to ensure compliance. After your public hearing is complete, you may leave if you wish. Okay, the first item on the agenda tonight is Dan and Shirley Andrea, Jordan and Brittany Gable. No property address. It's an application for a variance to allow a type 3 septic on a parcel created after January 23rd, 1996. It's located in Hillman Township. If the applicants would come forward and sit at the table in front here and get close to a microphone and pull it up to you, and when you get comfortable, state your name for the record.
Well, I'm Brittany Goebel.
You bring it closer to your mouth. You can
Brittany Goebel.
pull it over your way. Yep. Thank you.
Jordan Goebel.
Thank you. So, Amy, you're ready with the staff report?
I am, Mr. Chair. Again, this is a variance request to allow a Type 3 septic system on a lot created after January 23rd, 1996, and it's located in Section 12 of Hillman Township. The ordinance references is 1301.12 and 604.9. Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? That's a typo. We are not looking at a variance from 604.9, so just disregard that. We're just looking at 1301.12. All right, and then here's a plat map of Hillman Township, and the red dot is the location of the parcel.
Yes.
And then here is the variance request received from the applicant. And then here's a site drawing also provided by the applicant. And then here's one that was emailed to me after the site viewing, so this was not in your packet. And then here's an aerial photograph of the parcel. It's outlined in blue. And then some oblique imagery of the parcel as well. And then here is the aerial photograph with the elevation contours. This 10-acre lot is conforming and is in Section 12 of Hillman Township. It was split from a larger parcel in June of 2020. The split was reviewed by the Land Services Office for compliance with the design requirements, which is access to road, minimum lot size and width within the agriculture zoning district. And then here's a certificate of review issued by the Land Services Department. There is a large wetland complex in the area. Part of it is located on this newly created parcel. The current property owner, the Andreas, plan to convey the property to the applicant, the Goebels. The applicant plans to build a home on the parcel. The applicant had a septic system designer and land services staff on site. An area on the proposed parcel where soil conditions would allow a type 1 septic system was not found. And then here are the soil boring charts from that visit. And then here are the locations of the borings. A type 1 septic system is one that is designed according to Minnesota Rules 7080 2200 to 2240. These systems utilize the on-site soil to provide septic treatment and are considered standard systems. Drain fields must have at least 3 feet of adequate soil to provide treatment of septic effluent. Type 1 systems include trenches, seepage beds, and at-grade systems. Mound systems can also be type 1 if at least 12 inches of the soil is utilized for septic treatment. The septic designer has determined that adequate soil separation does not exist on the property to install a type 1 septic drain field. For a type 1 mound system, at least 12 inches of separation between the soil and seasonally high water table is required. Those 12 inches of soil contribute to the 3 feet of soil treatment needed for septic effluent. 5 inches of separation was found on site. When soil conditions do not support a type 1 septic system, a type 3 system can be considered. A type 3 system is one that deviates from the requirements in Minnesota Rules 7080 2210 to 2240. These systems are considered alternative systems and have minimum design requirements in Minnesota Rule. In the case of a type 3 mound system, the entire soil treatment area is above the ground surface and the underlying soils is not relied upon to provide any treatment. The property would require a mound drain field with a 36-inch sand lift. The applicant is requesting a variance to place a type 3 septic system on the site to serve the future dwelling. At the development review team meeting, staff discussed the following with the applicant, that there was a maximum of 5 inches of separation found on site and 12 inches is needed. There's extensive wetland in the area. With a high water table, property should be evaluated by a contractor to determine if it is a suitable building site for a home. The Board of Adjustment cannot grant variances based on personal need or solely for economic reasons, and this parcel is not prime ag land. After the viewing, I did receive this email forwarded to me from Sullivan Construction, and this is from the contractor, and that reads, "The parcel of land for Jordan and Brittany Goebel is completely suitable for a home and yard. The proposed locations of house and septic are in the front of the property with more than enough distance to any low areas. I don't foresee any issue with a home being built there." And then the applicable comprehensive land use plan goals is residential goal B1. Objectives within that goal. And then agriculture goal A1 and A2. And then the comp plan the water plan goals and objectives is the groundwater goal, objective B, the land use and development goal. 12 notices were sent. No comment was received prior to the public hearing. And those are your finding of fact and decision questions, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Do the applicants have anything to add to the report? Okay.
No.
All right, then we'll go to the board and see if they have any questions for you or staff or any other experts that might be out there. So guys, anybody have a question for anybody specifically, or applicants, or? Who is the young man out in the?
No, I'm Tom Krishik. I'm with Helmut Township.
Oh, you're with the township, okay.
Yeah, we have no police.
All right. I thought you might be part of their construction crew. An expert. You're an expert of some kind, but not that one, maybe. Okay. Just a quick review. I was looking at the certificate of review, figure 1. I assume the applicants here, you kind of inspired that parcel split because, okay?
Yep.
And at the time it was created, it says right on that certificate that does not guarantee a building site. So kind of aware of that possibility probably.
Yep.
Okay. Then I think the next, on the flip side of figure 1 is the survey of that 10 acres. Okay, I don't know that there's any questions there that any of us have. Figure 2 is the wetlands and their location. Amy, could you, on figure 2, could you describe what the different colors represent?
Yep, Mr. Chair, you'll see the varying labels on there, and those are the types of wetland that they are. So you'll see the dark green as a type 6 wetland. The lighter minty green is a type 2, and then to the north, you'll see the type 3 wetlands. So it's just the color coding that we assign to the various wetland types that are found in the area.
Which is the wettest?
Say it again?
Which of those types is the wettest?
The wettest, usually a type 6 is going to be more of your open water wetland. Type 2 is going to be seasonally wet.
Kind of a sedge type. Okay. Clint, did you have a comment? Oh, site visit, yes. I always try to get that in the record and forget. Last Friday on the 21st, Amy, Clint, Marv, myself, and Brent were out at the site with the applicants. It was cold and windy.
It was.
But we got a good look at things, and it was a good thing to visit.
Mr. Chair,
Kate, go ahead.
I had a question for Amy. If you could go to the site elevation screen, and it's not quite clear to me here, but it looks like the elevation of that house across 39 in Lee Township is at or near the same elevation as this proposed site. Is that correct?
Let's see, let me zoom out here and,
Hard to follow those contour lines. but-
yeah, the contour line for the proposed house is probably 1324, 1322 or so. And when we get to that, if we follow that around, I would say it's probably, this house is at the probably 1332 or so. So it's higher over here. I can turn on beacon if you really want to know. If you want to, I can pull it up so we have a bigger snapshot than this. I can certainly do that if you'd like.
It seemed like when we were out there, it was kind of at the same elevation, so within a few feet anyhow.
Yeah, if you'd like me to go to beacon, I certainly can.
The way I follow the lines, it shows to about 1328
Yeah.
to 26.
I'll pull it up. Just give me a minute to do that. Okay.
While we're waiting for that, maybe we could just have a little discussion on those contours. One nice thing is County Road and a pretty substantial ditch are right, to the north of their building site, and which doesn't leave for a very long slope. And that slope from the northeast corner down to the south end of that, call it a field, is a nice gradual slope. I think it's, according to the soil types, anywhere from 1 to 4% slope, or 7% slope even.
So, Mr. Chair, it looks like it's in between the 1330 and 1328 contour. And if we go down to this, I think the house was going to be set back a bit. So I would say we're probably in the 1324, 1322 contour or so.
Yeah, probably from where we were standing at the site, though, it was probably about the same.
Yeah, we were higher,
We were
up
up on that
here,
28.
we're here at the 1328 is here, 1330. So,
Does that answer your question,
Yep,
Brent?
thank you.
Thanks, Amy.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
Also, I'd ask Amy if you could bring up that first slide that we didn't, or the picture that they had where they're proposing putting the septic. I believe it is at the highest portion of the land.
Do you want the elevation contours?
The
or would you-
elevation contour and that it was submitted later on.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Give me just 1 second here. I just need to get into a different view
I just wanted to
here.
verify that the septic was probably at the highest portion.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, give me just 1 second here. Is it this one you're looking at?
That is correct.
Okay.
So the elevation of where that mound is probably the highest portion of that property, if I'm remembering correct.
And Mr. Chair, with all of the borings, they had the same separation. So sometimes it doesn't matter if you're on, you can have a perched water table. So sometimes the topography of the land doesn't really indicate where that water table is. And this is a great example of that, is that they did not find more than 5 inches of separation anywhere they took those borings. So really that mound could shift and still be in the same situation.
Yeah, we had that discussion earlier, and I just wanted to confirm where they were putting this mound, so, thank you.
Do the applicants know why the contractor recommended it up that height? Probably because sheds the most water. I mean, water won't accumulate there. It won't run downhill to it because that's the highest spot on the
Yeah.
property.
Yeah, he did not clarify that answer at this time, but I know from originally talking that if we had to choose to keep it on the higher part of the land, we would rather have our house away from the road and have the mound in front of the house if we had to choose.
Sure, okay.
Mr. Chair, the other thing is there's already a drilled well. Is that well already there?
Yep.
There is distance that that septic system needs to meet from the well, and so putting the house in between certainly achieves that setback.
And obviously where their proposed location for the sewer is, meets the setback from the right-of-way by a fair distance. Okay,
Yep, septic systems only need to be 10 feet. So you have a little bit more leeway with location of your septic system from the right-of-way than you do for the structure.
sure, okay.
And on the sheet that we created of the site plan, we have the exact measurements too from the stakes that were there for the site visit.
Okay,
And it says 28 feet from the septic area, so.
okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, any other questions on contours or on locations, proposed locations?
Mr. Chair, I don't really have a question, just kind of a comment from our site visit. I will say I was one of the first ones to admit that once we got our packet and we looked through it, looking at this property through our packet, our papers, to me, it looked like it was an unbuildable piece of property. Once we were out there and did a site visit, I think that changed some of the viewpoint on that because of the way the contour of the land and that, and it's in egg zone, it's not very prime egg land. I think the building site there, once you look around the surrounding area, the actual building site, I think it is a very much a good buildable lot. So then we just got to decide if this is the right fit to grant this variance for this type 3 septic system. But that's what I saw for observation when we did our site visit. I think that was if we would have had to decide on this one without that site visit, I think it would have been pretty difficult, so. Just a comment.
Yep, I felt the same way, though the contour map did help some. It did show you that there is a, there is a fairly good slope and, but then the site visit, yeah, along with the public road there and the ditch, along that road, you can tell that water isn't gonna stand on that, their proposed building site for long. Does the applicant know what the history of that field is? Has there been hay made on it in the past? Yeah, probably just,
It's all reeds.
oh, okay.
It's like swampland.
No, I mean the upper,
Oh,
the field
upper-
area.
Yeah,
there.
I think,
My grandpa just cleared it out, probably like 10 years before we planned to build there, but I don't think they ever used it for farming or
Sure.
anything like that.
Just curious.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, then, thanks for the explanation on the wetlands in figure two. So obviously the drier portion of the wetland is closest to their building site. No open water there. Then we have, information on soil types and review of those soils. Let's see, I thought I had some notes here. Yeah, yep. There's a C73C, which I think is where the proposed building site is.
Mr. Chair, here's imagery from 2008, just so you can see kind of what it looked like
Okay,
back then. So a few trees, but.
Not much difference.
Nope, not much different.
yeah, and that C73C is a 1 to 7% slope, moderate drainage. Then the C9B, which would be where the rest of your building site, potential building site, is a 1 to 4% slope and somewhat poorly drained. So I guess soil types seem to indicate that they're a decent soil as your contractor noted too, that it's a buildable spot, good place for a yard, and there isn't any standing water on the surface. And then I think that's the end of the packet. I don't know that there was anything else in the packet that might need any explanations, anybody? Okay. Right, if there's no further questions for the applicants, should we go out to the public? Yeah, it looks like we have somebody from the township to comment, so we're open for public comment now. If you wouldn't mind, I think we can probably hear you well enough if you speak up.
We have no concerns. We were under the assumption that one of us should be here tonight, so we have no concerns. But I can tell you that field was put in probably around 1995. I did logging there. So it's roughly about that vintage. No, we don't have no concerns.
Okay. All right, thank you. Is there anybody else that has a observation for or against the applicant? Okay, any other discussion from the public? One more time. Any other discussion from the public? I have to ask 3 times. Okay, as there is none, we'll close the public input part of the meeting. So are you ready to go to the question, guys? Okay. So the applicant did a good job, I thought, of answering the questions, and now it's our turn to answer the questions. Question number 1 is request in harmony. I've got my own sheet here somewhere buried. There it is. Is a request in harmony with the general purposes and intent of the Morrison County Land Use Ordinances and Comprehensive Plan. We're going to start with Clint on that.
When we look at our ordinance, they have opportunity to come in and apply for this variance so that they could get a septic that'll work for this property. After our site visit and looking at the way the land lays and figuring out that, to me, it is a suitable building site, I think once the request for this variance is in harmony. It's not a prime ag land. When you look around the area with other houses in the area, and then you look at that piece of property and you say, well, that is a good spot to put a house. Then you got to decide if it's suitable to put a house, and I believe it is. So I think it is in harmony with our intent of our ordinances to have you apply for this variance. And if this variance was granted, I think it brings it totally into harmony.
Okay, thanks, Clint. Marv or Brent, anything to add?
I agree totally with Clint had to state there. And the only thing else I want to add to it is they're going to meet all the setbacks as a conforming lot. So, they're doing everything correctly here by that. So, agree. Just
Brent, any comments?
Nothing further than just that looking at the county land use ordinance, we're ensuring that water and ground quality is maintained, and increasing to a tier 3 from a tier 1 also supports that.
Yeah, and I agree with what's been said, and, it's 10 acres, so it's more than the minimum 5-acre lot. All setbacks are met and it is ag land, but has not had an ag use for quite some time, if ever. So ag is given precedence in the area, and residential is allowed, as long as it doesn't displace ag. There's multiple places for septic systems. It's a large enough lot and a large enough buildable area so that if the one septic system fails where they're proposing, there will be another site available. And that's part of ordinance, intensive ordinance is to have at least another optional site, at least one other optional site. There's a decent slope across that whole grassed area, anywhere from 1% to 7% slope. There's plenty of vegetation, so no matter where the runoff is from, whether it's a sewer system, the house, or yard, lots of vegetation to filter that water before it enters groundwater or even enters into surface water. Screened in from the north, east, and west, so very suitable that way. I think you're proposing a on-slab design,
Yes.
and I assume you're probably going to build that up a bit to raise up that area. And again, that's suitable for that higher water table, that on-slab design. And ordinance prefers type 1 sewer systems, and so do applicants prefer type 1 sewer systems because they are proven, they are tried and true. The type 3 systems are, some refer to them as experimental, and they aren't as proven as type 1 systems. But if something goes wrong, you have a spot to fall back on and build another one. The approach is already in place. I'm assuming that it was permitted, that approach, so it's in a good spot. It seems like there's good visibility from all directions, so not a safety factor. The other nice thing is there's the right-of-way is a bit wider at on the northeast corner of the property because of the ditch there. But the nice thing about that is that ditch also drains the property and moves water away from it to the north. So you really don't need to worry too much about that water. It looks like at the culvert, from the contours, you can see at the culvert on each side of the approach that it's at least 2 feet to 4 feet lower than your building site, your proposed building site, and I think maybe even up to 3 or 4 feet, 5 feet lower than where the mound system is. So good drainage from the property. So with all that said, I think, and the ordinance that was cited in the staff report, residential goals and agricultural goals are all met by this proposed use of the property. So question number 2, is the applicant proposing to use the property in a reasonable manner not permitted by the land use ordinance? Marv, if you'd start out.
I believe they are, and a few things to point out. They're planning on putting this septic system at the highest portion of the property. It's a 10-acre site here. There were, I don't know how many notices sent out, and there were no objections. We have the township supervisor over here, and they were perfectly fine with it. They have a 5-inch separation, need a 12, and they're willing to build a tier 3 system to meet them needs. So yes, I believe they're planning on using this property in a reasonable manner here.
Okay. Anything to add, Brent?
I would just add that, on that property, there is a well already there, the driveway is already there. There's not going to be a lot of disruption to the land with those types of added things later, since those are already in as well. So using it reasonably is appropriate here.
Okay. Clint, anything?
Just add that, once again, that it's not prime ag land. If we were gonna try and do something with that building site that's kind of considered a little field, it'd be very tough to make hay or do anything like that. But yet, when you look at it, it's still, to me, I think it's still usable ground that's dry enough to be able to put a house on. I think it's definitely a reasonable manner. It's a good place to put a house if you want to have something out in the country without disrupting our ag community.
Yeah, I guess we wouldn't even be answering this question today if the soil borings would have been okay. I mean, you would have met every setback there is, and your proposed uses would have been just over the counter, regular, permittable, other than for the soil borings, so. Number 3, will the issuance of the variance maintain the essential character of the locality? Brent?
Kind of reiterate some of the same things here, although I add, that is a tar road, County Road 39 out in front. There is a residence across the road that is at near similar elevations. Residents are allowed in ag areas. The driveway's already in. I don't know if that is the well that's going to be used or same site.
It is.
Okay. So it's well treed, the property is well treed, so it does maintain the essential character in this locality.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's a very attractive rural setting, similar to other rural settings. Nice variety of trees, meadow, and upland grass. A very attractive site that'll maintain the character of the locality. Other residents are very similar to it. Okay, Clint, anything to add?
Nothing further to add.
Okay, number 4, is the alleged practical difficulty due to circumstances unique to the property? I start out first on that one. It's kind of nice when you have a practical difficulty that's stated right in the ordinance, that type 1 systems are preferred, but type 3 are allowed. And right in the ordinance, there is I know at our last type 3 session, Amy cited the procedures that are outlined in the ordinance to go through the variance process. So the practical difficulty is the soil borings, the high, perched water table, and that is allowed to be used as a practical difficulty for this variance. Okay, Clint?
I don't think I have nothing further to add to that.
Okay, Marv or Brent?
I have nothing further to add.
Nothing further.
Okay. Number 5, is the need for the variance created by the actions other than the landowner or prior landowners? Clint?
Yes, it is. It's basically the land's dictating this. They just don't have enough separation, but yet I believe it's a well-suitable piece of property to build a home on, and you have to have a septic system, and we only have 5 inches of separation. We do allow a type 3, so that'll bring it up to 17 inches of separation, with our 12 inches plus the 5 we have. So I would say that yes, it is other than the landowner and prior landowner. It's the land. I guess that's how I see it.
Okay, anybody else? Marv?
I really don't have a whole lot to add to that because what Clint stated is correct. And, you know, it looks like it's a nice suitable piece of property here. And yeah, it's the water table that's created this here, and it's not them. And they're trying to do everything correctly here.
Nothing further.
Okay. Yeah, I'd just like to add that the process for this variance is outlined in the ordinance, and the applicants have gone through that procedure, so, are going through that procedure tonight. Number 6, does the alleged practical difficulty involve more than just economic considerations? Marv?
It definitely is much more in economics. They're going through the process, as you stated earlier. If it wasn't for the soil borings, they wouldn't have to gone through this. And they're just trying to go through the process and making sure everything is correctly here. So it's much more than just economic considerations. And they're doing things about putting in a septic in an area where they recommend it by the contractor or septic designer. So they're thinking about the whole picture.
Okay, thank you, Marv. Anybody else like to add to that? Okay, Clint?
The only thing, and I don't know if it really pertains to this one, but if it was an unbuildable piece of property, we'd have a whole different outlook on, you know, that 5 inches of separation, you know, and water tables. I live where there's a high water table also. My elevation's a lot lower than theirs, but you gotta look at the surrounding area. Mine's farmable. This probably isn't. But I think if it wasn't a suitable building site, you know, I think our outlook would look a lot different. So it's definitely not about economics because this is the more expensive route.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. That type 3 is a more expensive system, so it's not about money. You know, the reason I think that the type 3 is not allowed without a variance is so that we can have public hearings like this, so that other people can have inputs that, you know, each piece of land is unique, and there's some places where we wouldn't recommend a building it with a type 3 system, and there's others that we would. So lots to consider, and this is a good process that's allowed by ordinance. Okay, anything else to add before we vote on the questions? Okay, then we'll proceed to vote. Number 1, is the request in harmony with the purposes, general purposes and intent of the Morrison County Land Use Ordinance and Comprehensive Plan? Clint?
Yes.
Marv?
Yes.
Brent?
Yes.
And myself is yes. Number 2, is the applicant proposing to use the property in a reasonable manner not permitted by the land use ordinance? Marv?
Yes.
Brent?
Yes.
Myself is yes. And Clint?
Yes.
Number 3, will the issuance of the variance maintain the essential character of the locality? Brent?
Yes.
Myself is yes. Clint?
Yes.
And Marv?
Yes.
Number 4, is alleged practical difficulty due to circumstances unique to the property? Myself is yes. Clint?
Yes.
Marv?
Yes.
And Brent?
Yes.
Number 5, is the need for the variance created by actions other than the landowner or prior landowners? Clint?
Yes.
Marv?
Yes.
Brent?
Yes.
And myself is yes. Number 6, does the alleged practical difficulty involve more than just economic considerations? Marv?
Yes.
Brent?
Yes.
Myself is yes. Clint?
Yes.
Okay, all the questions have been answered in the affirmative. Is there a motion to grant this variance request?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to grant this variance request.
Okay,
And I'd second that.
and a second by Brent. Any discussion on the motion? There no discussion, we'll proceed to vote. I'll do a roll vote. Aye if you're for, nay if you're against. Marv?
Aye.
Brent?
Aye.
Myself is aye. And Clint?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Yeah, you've got a clean slate, it's created, treat it like a piece of art. You know, where you put things will definitely affect you in the future. I assume you plan on being there a long time.
We do.
Yeah, so think about everything that might be coming down the road, where you want to put a garage or a shed or yeah. I forgot to ask the question, is the greenhouse part of your living space, or is that?
It is. We're planning to make sure it's heated year-round so we can kind of use it as extra space to live in.
Okay, So it's not a production greenhouse.
A little bit of both.
Okay, yeah. So it's not something that needs a separate sewer system, obviously?
no.
Okay. Thank you. Good luck to you.
Thank you guys for
When
your
you're,
time.
yep, when you're ready to pull your permits, then it's just gonna be their typical process of coming in and applying for those. You'll need your septic system, design. You'll be applying for your 911 address and for the home all at the same time.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you so much,
good luck.
everyone.
Good luck.
Okay, next on the agenda is the approval of the January 11 meeting minutes. Okay, is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, I'd make a motion that we approve our minutes from January 11th.
Okay, is there a second to that?
I would second that.
Brent, second to that. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. Then we have new business, old business, adjourn.
So new business, I am going to orient you to the new PCBOA web portal. I know those emails went out today. Did any of you set up your account? Did any of you poke around in it? Okay, so. Oh, did you?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm good.
You were fine? What was your issue?
Well, so I was able to sign on, and, then I signed off and I tried to get back on there, and then it came up as being, you need email with a code or whatever.
Yes, that,
And-
you will need to do that. It'll,
And I didn't get no code for doing that,
Okay.
sent anything, so I wasn't able to go back
okay.
on.
Did you check your junk mail folder?
I did the first time, then not the second time when I sent it.
Okay, all right. So we'll maybe just give you a call and do it side by side with you.
I
Did you
never-
get a code?
No, but mine works. I can type, I
Were you
can,
trying to get into the only time you would need that authentication code is when you were trying to view the findings. Were you trying to view findings?
No, I was trying to get back on the site where there was different articles that were first popped up there.
Okay,
And I couldn't get back to any of that.
okay. Not quite sure what's going on there, so we might have to have you come in
Okay.
to help you
So when-
with that. And yours, you,
so right now I just logged in,
yep,
and on my screen it's showing Civic Engage, Civic Ready, Civic HR, Zapper, Civic Rec. I don't know.
okay,
It says here Clint's products, available products.
okay.
Could we have
right.
signed into the system earlier when we set up our payroll and stuff? Could we have?
No, you weren't set up to.
But I mean
sign.
into other things. I mean, now we've got
Well,
this
you can,
added.
you can sign up for notifications that anyone from the public can sign
But
up
that's
for.
not the same as this.
This is different, yeah. Did you get an email or
I got the emails, but
you just haven't done anything? Okay, so let me show you what you should be seeing, okay? So we're just gonna go here. This is, your normal website here. When you sign in, you'd be going up to here, and you hit sign in. And once you've done the initial setup, you're gonna say existing account,
So you gotta go into Morrison County?
the Morrison County website.
Oh, see, I've been going in right into that Civic Plus.
No, don't go there.
Yeah.
This is for the county website. So now I'm signed in, okay? And I'm still back on the county website. There's a couple of different ways you can get
Is
to,
it the same account as for payroll and whatever?
no.
I mean, because I've been through that.
It'll
with
use
that.
your email address, but you're going somewhere else. You're not
Okay.
you're not accessing Paycom. You're accessing the Civic Plus website, and you've been added to this to open up certain things for you.
Okay.
Okay? So this is all on the county website that you're gonna be on. So there's a couple of ways you can get to the portal. The easiest way is to do this, to go all the way down to the bottom. And we have a shortcut right here. Okay? That's probably the easiest way for you to get there. Were you watching, Dave?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm just gonna click on that and it takes you right to the portal. You have to be signed in order to get here. Okay? So the things that are available to you in here, on the far left here, are the findings of fact. So what we did is, if you expand this, we could go back years and years and years and years, but we're not going to. So we have all of the 2021 findings of fact here. So if you click this, we have these listed by date and the name. So we're gonna have Planning Commission and Board of Adjustment. Most recent would be first. So you can look at any one of these. And these are the findings that are drawn up after you make your decision. Usually only the board chair sees these and signs these, but these are the findings from every meeting, okay? To get back, just remember, this is not opening in a separate window. So you need to use your back button.
Could you scroll down on this finding of fact and show them the reasons part? There you go.
Yep, here's the conclusion. So when you answer your questions, I'm building the answer, and this is what I use that for. Yep, and then here's your decision, who made the motion, all of that. And then if there are any conditions, they'd be either here or as an attachment, depending on how many conditions there are. Yeah. So to get out of here, you hit your back button. If you close this, you close yourself out of the portal, okay? So use your back button, okay? And so again, if you ever get lost, you're like, how do I get out of here? You can always go down to the bottom and click this, and it'll take you right back to the portal, okay? So that's an easy way to do it, or you just use your back button, okay? So
I didn't see how you initially got signed in, or didn't you?
I did sign in, yeah.
Okay.
Yep, I can go out and do it again. Yeah, okay,
Well, no, because you really didn't, because you said use an existing one.
yeah.
So he's saying from the get-go, so you already signed in. And that's the problem all of us are having.
You're having that problem too?
I never got no code.
Well, I'm all in.
I didn't get
I didn't get a code.
Exactly where she's.
I
I'm on the
didn't-
pages
I
right
didn't-
now. I just went on Planning Commission and looked at that
I
one.
didn't get a code.
find the
You shouldn't get a code.
Yeah. So right here, I can go.
That's for the findings of fact.
Public hearing,
So,
Board of
okay, can
Adjustments right here.
I get your attention? The only time, so the findings of fact, you're going into our network to get those. You're going into something else. That's where that multi-factor authentication is gonna happen. That's where it's gonna send you a code. So every time you wanna view the findings of fact, it's probably going to make you authenticate your email. To use just this portal, you won't need the code, you don't get a code, you won't, that's not an issue. It's only when you're going here that it may make you verify your identity with the code, and what it'll do is it'll have you enter in your email, and it'll email you then a code that you have to enter. That's the only part about this that you may need to go through that. Make sense? If you have trouble, let us know. But that's my understanding, is this is the only spot because this is hosted differently than anything else. Okay?
But everything in here is public record.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
It's not public facing. So people can see that link, but they can't get into it. This is for you.
But it is a public record if somebody came in to request it.
Yes, but we're not gonna direct them through your portal to get there.
Just
Yes.
want to make sure that we're only
Yes.
going into a public record.
Yes, it's public information, but we don't serve it out on our website. If someone wanted a copy of someone's findings, yes, it's public and we would give it to them, yes. Okay? When we're not looking at our phone, I'll show you the rest.
Well,
Whap them one time, yeah.
Are you ready? I want to show you
Yes.
this, so.
I want to get in this stupid thing. Okay, go ahead,
Okay.
yes, I'm ready.
All right, so then, I would just want to show you the content, because this is for you. So if you want something different or more or whatever, tell us. Or if you don't find, like, some of this isn't gonna be useful to you, then we'll clean it up. So these are the things that we thought would be helpful and useful to you to have all in one spot. So the first thing is meeting minutes and videos for each of the meetings. So if you want to circle back on anything. What this does is this is a link, we already have this, in here. So for example, if we take the Planning Commission agendas, I click on this, it's going to take you to the Planning Commission Agenda Center. And it lists all of the meetings that you've had. You can download the agenda, you can watch the video, and when the minutes are signed and uploaded, they'll be here. All of that is going to be there for you. Make sense? So it's one spot where all of that is there. Now, again, to get back to the portal, your back button. Okay? Same thing for the Board of Adjustment. Okay? Then, public hearing findings of fact. Again, we've got them here as well. Current year, we don't have anything right now. Findings of fact 2021. Okay? Board of Commissioners, if you want to follow when their meetings are, what's going on, when they're going to be listening to something that is of interest to you as a Planning Commission member or Board of Adjustment member, this is a link to their agenda and minutes. The YouTube channel, if you want to actually view a meeting, so if you know, I want to hear that Autumn Antlers discussion, that's where you're going to go to do that. So for example, if I click on this, it's going to take us to the YouTube channel for the board, and it's got every board meeting there is. So you just select the one that you need or want. Okay?
So we could go back to the Autumn Antlers one,
Yes.
find out,
Yes, and you can view it. Yep.
not to change the subject, but is there anything happening with that? Nobody's appealing it?
No,
Okay.
no.
Are they making progress?
We reviewed their septic design, so, but
Okay.
yeah.
Interesting.
So you'll notice, you just have to kind of notice up here how this is opening. This opened in because this is a separate page. So you can close this and it'll take you right back. And then here's their calendar for their board meeting dates, just so you're aware of when the board is meeting, okay? All right, training and resources. This is the DNR webpage, and it is a huge resource. It has a ton of information regarding variances in shoreland and all sorts of stuff. So this is just a resource for you to review, okay?
Now, there was a PowerPoint.
Hang on.
Oh, you were getting there, okay.
The Soil and Water Conservation District website, and then the training videos that we had. So all of those are here. We're going to, I think we're going to be renaming some of these, but these are all the videos for those initial trainings that you had. So if you ever want to circle back on any of those, also the PowerPoints that were associated with those, all of that's right here, okay? And if we have any other videos or anything that would be of value, we'll load those for you. Okay? Was that answering your question?
Yes,
Okay.
it's right there, the
Yeah.
shoreline basics.
Yeah. All right, then moving on to laws and regulations. Your own bylaws are here. The full ordinance, the comp plan, the Minnesota shoreland rules, the sonar for the shoreland rules, the water plan, and the Mississippi Headwaters Board website. The forms, your opening statement for Planning Commission, your opening statement for Board of Adjustment, the schedule for the public hearings for the year, and your voting sheets in case you are doing some work at home. You're like, gosh, I wish I had a blank voting sheet. There's where you can find one. Then we have this calendar here. And I'm going to go to February just because there's more on it. These are all dates that have something to do with you guys. Okay? So, and we show 5 at a time here. So on the 25th, today, we've got a meeting. On the 2nd, we've got that zoning district discussion. Just so you know, for the March 1st, this is the deadline. Because I know sometimes you ask that and want to know, like, okay, when will you know if we have an agenda item? We put those on this calendar for you, so you know. And then we're gonna tell you when the board meetings are as well, because those follow your planning commission meetings, so you have an idea of when those happen. And then we also put the site viewing dates on here, okay? Just so you know when those dates would be and what agenda item they're for. If you want to see a bigger list, then you can view all events and everything's on the calendar is going to come down in a list for you. So if we go like this, it's going to give it to you in this type of format. Let me get to February here. There. Then it's going to kind of give you, you know, a little bit more detail. Make sense? So the question I have for you is for the site viewings and things, do you still want to continue to get that calendar invite that I've been sending you? Or do you want me to load more information on here? What we have you now, we have you all subscribed to this calendar. So anytime something gets put on this calendar, it's going to trigger an email to you. Also, you can elect to have that done in a text message, and you can manage that. And I'll show you in a minute how to do that. And there's other areas here where if you want to know when we've posted something to this portal, it'll trigger an email or a text to you, so you'll know. So, but this is, what I'd like to use this for is kind of this central place to communicate with you and to give you information, so.
Well, for me, Amy, I would like to give us a month. So if you keep everything the same for a month.
Yep.
And then we'll see how these
Yeah.
notifications are, and then see, so we can get used to it.
Yeah.
Maybe give us a
Absolutely.
month and then check and
Yeah, we
see.
can kind of double up
Yep.
on it. Maybe I'll put it both places, and then you can see what works the best
Yep.
for you. If you just know, oh geez, I better check that, or if the calendar invites.
Could you
it.
click on more details under the site viewing?
There
Does it
isn't
have the address
anything, no, not now, no.
Amy, I agree
and
with.
Will it, or,
It can,
oh,
it can. I can
I
have.
mean, if we were gonna use this
Yes,
as our form.
then I would.
Oh, oh,
Then I would. I would give you the addresses, the order, all of that. I would put in here.
Can we do both for 1 month? Because then it'll give us a month to get used to this, and then I'm not opposed to going to this, but I just don't know if I trust it
Yeah, no. I
right now, because
totally
it's
understand.
new, you know?
Technology is not perfect at times.
Yeah.
I think we all seen it. So I agree with Clint, give it a month. That's
All
what
right.
I'd like to see. I don't know what the rest
Yeah,
of
what I'll
us-
do is I'll double up on it. I'll put it in both places, and then I'll circle back in about a month and just say what works best for you.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds good. All right, any other
But
questions?
either way,
on
we'll
this?
get a notice. Email
Absolutely, yes, I will communicate with you, yeah. So again, to get back, you can either do the back button here or go all the way down and hit this, and it brings you right back, okay? So here's the calendar, and like I said, we've got the county board dates integrated in there as well. I was just gonna see if you.
Ordinance is in there somewhere, and comprehensive plan?
Yes, so right here under laws and regulations, we have all of that.
Okay.
Okay?
Ordinance and then plan.
Yep. Then down here, we have contacts. So if you click on this, this is gonna give you for the district, the commissioner contact and the board members contact. And then down here, it's gonna give you staff, like the staff that you probably would wanna reach out to
Yep.
if you ever needed to. So as members change and commissioners change, this will get updated, but this is a sheet for you.
Amy, I don't know, I haven't seen a need yet. But could we get our feedlot person on that list?
Absolutely, yes.
It might be in the future, good way to,
Yep. Add Rob to contacts, yes, absolutely. Do you want the shoreline specialist too?
probably, what do you think? Just somebody we maybe would need
Yep,
something from.
absolutely, yeah. I'll definitely get that added. Perfect, thank you. All right, so this opened in a separate, so I'm gonna close this. And then the other area is news and articles of interest. This is where I'm gonna put, hey, something happened in a different county, but it's kind of cool and you
Okay.
guys might be interested in knowing. Or maybe a study came out that's dealing with something that we deal with all the time, or whatever, something that's really kind of in our wheelhouse that I want you to be aware of. We're gonna put that here, okay? What we do have posted right now is the notify me to receive updates and information. So you can sign up, and I'll show you. You can sign up then and choose what you want to get. So, you can subscribe, let's see, and I'm already, oh yeah, let's read on here. There we go. So you can subscribe, actually, these are all the things, but if I'm gonna, so this is just the link to get there. So you're gonna go notify me. Okay, this is where you are going to enter your email address and your phone number, okay? And you say, how do I want to receive these? Do I want to get emails or texts or both or what? And then these are all the different things. So these are, if you just want to be more connected to county stuff in general, these are all the different notifications we have. And you can select, okay, I want to get this one. I want to get county surplus auction stuff via text or via email. Your Board of Adjustment is going to be here, your Planning Commission. Some of these things won't show for you. Road conditions, that they're building that right now. You're all subscribed to the BOA calendar right now.
The link that I got an email on brought me here.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, so that's probably the notification that you were subscribed to that, because there was 2 emails. You would have gotten one to set up to get into your Civic Plus to the portal. Then there was another one notifying you, hey, you've been signed up for this calendar, or for this notification. And it probably said, to adjust what you want, go here, and it probably brought you here,
yep.
because that's why. So yeah, so these are all the different things that, so you can set your preferences for this, and as we build more into the portal, there may be more things that you can subscribe to.
Okay, so to get into this one, we go down to the church.
Yes,
News, articles, and internet.
yep,
Okay.
and it walks you right through here.
If we have issues, problems, is Judy the person? Sharon, who's the person we go to?
Probably.
I just got mine working, so basically what I needed to do was, I don't recall putting in a password, so I went in there and I said I forgot it, and then it gave me another email to reset it.
Okay,
As soon as I did that, there is no code, like Amy explained, and then I was able to get in, it works just fine.
so like tomorrow, if I start experimenting around in things.
I would say,
Don't work
any one
as
of
I would
us.
Any one of
Yeah.
the services?
yeah, I think Judy's just as familiar with it, so any one of us should be able to help you, and if you're really having trouble, you can come in to the office but yeah, we should be able to walk you through.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
so if any of you have any other issues, but this is where you set those preferences,
Yeah.
okay?
No, that's why I think it'd be good for a month to see if we get the notifications, because I'm not gonna be on this every day to see what's going on. I mean, I'll
Yeah.
use it, but at least every day I check my calendar or I check my notifications
Yes.
and so that's why, just to get a feel for it.
Yep, and one of the things that, I'm just gonna go back to the main portal. We're still working on this a little bit, but one of the things that I was asking our IT department is how many of these things can we set up to notify you when something's been, because you may not care when we post the minutes.
Yeah.
So you may unsubscribe to that or don't care to even know, but you may be interested in maybe, if we give you any new forms or if we, whatever. So, anyway, some of these I think we can do notifications, some of them we can't. It just, so we'll give you that full array, but this is what we've got for now. But this findings of fact, I know when I went into it, like I said, you're accessing something a little different, and it will do that that two-step authentication, it probably will send you a code. You got to verify that it's you. So. Because it's the way it's set up, because we're using Microsoft, something in Microsoft that requires sign-in. Yeah, I don't know. It was just the easiest way to load this stuff up for you. So that's what we chose to do. We'll try it. There's several different ways that we can do stuff like that. This seemed to be the most straightforward and easiest on the back end to link. But if for some reason it's just really problematic, we want to know that, because then we'll look at a different platform to have that served up for you. So, first blush, is there anything on here or not on here that you want to have on here?
That's I don't know what I don't know.
Yeah. So poke around in it. The other thing that I foresee coming on there is we went to a new payroll system called Paycom. And right now I approve your guys' time every pay period, and that's what triggers that payment to you. And there isn't anything you need to do. Eventually they're gonna roll out expense reimbursement on there, and you would be going into that system to claim your mileage. And so that would be an addition on here, like a link to that. But we're not there yet with that. So that would be another thing I fully anticipate will be on this page for you when we get there. We don't have the mileage forms on here now because Sharon essentially fills them out for you. And
I
so
like it that way.
we don't need your individual form out there, and it's working just fine, and there really wouldn't be a reason for them to be up here. So we decided at this time, we won't have them up.
Well, this will take a little bit to get used to, but it
Oh my
looks
gosh,
pretty
yeah.
straightforward.
Yeah,
The great thing is it's all together. A lot of information you can grab without digging back and forth. It's all right there.
and I wanted you to have the sonar and all of that, because when you're kind of doing your research and you're looking at, okay,
Yeah.
well, why is that standard even there in the first place? That, that shouldn't need to be a part of your packet every time.
Yeah.
That's something that you can go and research and then articulate that. If you're answering based on what you read in the sonar, then of course, you'd want to refer to that in your answer. But it's something that, your packet can get this thick if I'm
It's-
adding that every single time.
It's still nice. You don't have to add that, but it's still nice in our deal where you say which ordinance it is.
Yes.
Or if you
Yeah, I will
mention
always
to
do
look at that,
Yes.
that helps a lot.
Yep, I
so.
will always do that, so. Anything else on here, like first blush?
Our W-2 forms, are they gonna be mailed to us with this new system? Do we have to?
Well, through Paycom, like for me as an employee and for Sharon as an employee, we select how we want to get our W-2, either mailed
Yeah,
or
we might
just
have done that too,
electronic.
I'm not sure.
I can certainly none of you have gotten a W-2? Okay, so I can check with admin to see what they're doing with those.
It ain't enough to mess with. The government don't need to know about that.
Is it gonna be a W-2 or a 1099?
Have you guys
Well,
ever
if they gave you a
signed,
W-2, you need to know.
have you guys ever signed in to Paycom?
I think I did
We had
once,
to,
I think when we set it up.
We set it up and then afterwards,
after that, I don't
Get
think.
on the thing afterwards, I couldn't get on it, it's just like, it's going, don't worry about it.
Okay, W-2s I'll just ask,
Yep.
and, okay, anything else? So poke around in it, give us some feedback, this is yours, this is for you, so.
I'm sure in 6 months we'll have some ideas.
Yeah, so we want your feedback, but we thought this would be a good place to, instead of giving you paper copies of everything or sending you email after email after email where you gotta kind of dig through, where was that? Put it here.
Okay, so maybe you answered this already, but I just thought of something. So when we have them on that calendar, we have them alerts on there. Is that gonna alert to our calendar on our phone?
No,
Okay,
no, you would have to add these to your
okay,
calendar.
okay.
Yeah.
Good to know, because.
Yep, great
I
question.
keep everything straight. I gotta put it on my calendar. I
Yeah,
never-
if you do this, I was just wondering if it's something that you can, yeah,
click
I think
on
you can
that,
maybe, I don't know if you can email that to yourself?
Okay, well-
Not sure,
I'll think with it, but yeah.
yeah. Okay,
Because a lot of times, like when the stuff you guys send
Mm-hmm.
for our viewings, it automatically loads to my calendar on my phone. I like that.
yeah, because I send it as a calendar invite, she sends it as a calendar invite, and so it just
Yeah.
automatically, yeah, and that's the nice thing about that, and that might be something that, nope, that just is what works. And your packets are always gonna be delivered
Yeah.
the same,
Yeah.
you know, all of that, unless you get to the point where you say, just post the packet here, you know, but I know a lot of you like the paper in front of you, at the
During the
meeting.
meeting, yeah.
Yeah, so, and out at the viewing
Yeah.
and all of that, so we'll continue to do that. All right, so that's all I have for this. I think, yeah, and then we have that ag zoning meeting coming up next week, and
I won't.
that's right, you won't be there, yep, but I think everybody else will, I think the other 4 will.
How long does that go? It's at 8?
It's a 3-hour,
Okay.
yeah.
So if I'd be just a little late, it'd be all right.
Yeah, we're gonna dig in right away, so.
Yeah, that's fine, but-
Yeah,
I should be on time, but in case. it
yeah,
happens.
yeah.
Meeting here, or?
Just send me a text though and let me know. Yes, here will be, I'm gonna set it up as a U facing the screen. So, and the full board will be here. Soil and Water, NRCS, and then some staff, so.
And is that going to be recorded or no?
You know, when we had our training with Scott Anderson, just the last time I recorded it, and you can't hear it.
Okay.
And so I could record it, but you won't hear it because we don't have speakers. We don't have microphones in the ceiling to pick up any of that. So it was disappointing because I had my volume all the way up and I could barely hear it. So, you know, I could record it. I don't know how much you'd be able to hear.
Okay.
Call Wilson and talk to him for a couple hours about 10 o'clock at night when he's tired.
He'll fill you in.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have all of those on this calendar as well, but I sent you calendar invites as well, so. That's, I think, all I
Anything we should
have.
focus on for that first meeting with the commissioners?
Just that packet that I
whole
emailed you. I mean, it's really just to get up to speed as far as how did we get to where we are. I think it's important to understand.
That appeared just to be all feedlot information for the.
Well, it's ag, yeah, it's ag and kind of how the feedlot stuff came about and so, but I think it's important if you're looking to change something, understand, why did we implement this in the first place? Because, you know, there's always a reason for everything and you kind of, sometimes if you forget that, then so just have reviewed that. And then I've got a bunch of other stuff that I'll be showing you, but I have it kind of broken out, like this first meeting is gonna be, how do we get here? What's not working? Is the policy we have still the policy we want? And what in the ordinance is standing in the way of that? I mean, that's really what we wanna wrap our arms around this first meeting. So,
But that'd be good, because then we could go back and read that again after the meeting to see, might answer
Absolutely.
some things. I read through it all too, but I don't remember it all.
yeah, and then I
But at
have
least
some
when they
other.
talk about it, you.
Yeah, and then I have some other resources that I've put together for the meeting, so you'll see those at the meeting.
Do you plan on handing out paper of the stuff that you sent us or not?
No,
Okay.
no, I don't plan on it. I'm gonna have it up on the screen and I'll have the stuff that we're talking about, I'll have up on the screen. Yeah. I think that's all I have for you guys tonight. We do have an agenda for the February 15th, just one item. And Sharon will be doing viewing with you that day. I won't be.
That's the only meeting in February?
Yeah, it is. Yep.
Yeah, we just got that
We
notice today.
coordinated them with the county board meetings and so, we're not concentrating on having 2 a month, we're concentrating on having a meeting, prior to the county board meeting, so that's how that, so in
That 1 month that
February.
We get 3 also.
Exactly, so it comes out in the wash, but, yeah. And, so, yeah,
Yeah, I won't be at the viewing,
okay,
but I will be back in time for the meeting.
okay, sounds good. Yep, so that staff report will be coming out soon. We don't have anything for the March 1st meeting yet. I will be out of town, so I'm kind of hoping that there isn't anything, so,
March sometime I'll be gone, but
okay.
depends when the meeting falls on. We'll have to look.
Well, let's look at the calendar.
let's look at the
We could
calendar.
do that.
Yeah, the 29th, if that's
Let's
a
see.
meeting. Can you click on that one?
Yeah. It is a PCBOA.
Okay, that one I might miss.
Okay.
But
Just let me know
we'll know
closer
when
to
we
the
get
time when we
closer.
have an
Yeah,
agenda.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that's all I have, Mr. Chair.
So we haven't had the first PC meeting of the year yet.
And I don't see anything on
Don't
the
look
horizon. I
for a
don't,
while.
like, as far as for our dirt meetings, I might have a rezone coming. But that would be it. I can't think of anything else that we talked along the lines of, that would need a PC. So, yeah, pretty quiet on that front.
You know, the people, they do things the opposite because you think the winter's when you'd be busy to plan.
Yeah, because they want to be ready to go for the
Yeah,
spring.
but no, they wait till.
Yeah, yeah.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
A second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Meeting adjourned at 7:16 PM.